So this one is all about the periodic table. A word of warning. If this is your first foray into the periodic table, I wouldn't use this video just because I'm going to cover loads and loads of stuff really quite quickly. And I don't want to scare you off because it's a really useful tool and it's not that complicated. But I'm going to cover a lot very quickly, so bear with me if you will. Remember the distribution of electrons around the atom. Remember that the number of protons is the same as the number of electrons. So if you have one proton, there'll be one electron. If you have 7 protons, there'll be 7 electrons, and so forth. The electrons are all distributed in orbitals, which we call shells. So anytime I say shells, don't think of seashells. That would be stupid. Think of the orbits or orbitals that these electrons are in. The first 2 electrons are in the first shell. I've done them in blue. Here they are, 1 and 2. The next few electrons, that's numbers 3 through to 10. I've done them in orange, and you'll see them in the second orbital, or the second shell, as we shall now call it. I've done numbers 11 through to 18 in green. They're all located in the third shell. There you are, all around there. And numbers 19 and 20 will get plugged into the fourth shell, the fourth orbital. And that gives us a magic number, which is really useful for remembering when the time comes that you have to start drawing electrons actually onto a piece of paper to show how they're distributed out, doing electron configurations. The magic number is 2882. The first shell takes 2 electrons, the second shell takes 8 electrons, the third shell takes 8 electrons, and the fourth shell goes up to 2 electrons, and then the rules are thrown out the window and we do something different, which I'm not going to tell you about today, or possibly ever. Now remember that the number of electrons is what dictates what elements the atom that you're looking at actually is. So if you increase the number of protons, increase the number of protons, that will change the actual element that you have. Now when you look at your picture of a periodic table, sometimes you'll find that hydrogen is located in the very center, up here. And that's because hydrogen's a bit of a funny one. Hydrogen doesn't really behave like a metal, but it's got 1 electron in its outer shell. So for the purposes of this, very carefully, I've copied this part across. So if it looks familiar, tell you what shell is being used by the electrons. So the first and second electrons are in group 1. The 3rd through to 10th electrons are in group 2. 11th through to 18th electrons are in group 3. And numbers 19 and 20 are in group 4. So you can read off from the location of your elements, you can read off exactly what its chemistry is going to be similar to. So if we pick up this little chappy here, can't tell off the top of my head what it is. It might be, no, I don't know. I'm not that good. We know that it's going to have, ready? It's in group 1, 2, group 3. So it's going to have 3 electrons in its outer shell. And we're going to say that those 3 electrons are in the first, second, third shell. So we can say that our element is going to have a nucleus just there, often don't draw, and we'll have 1, I'll have 2 electrons in it, 2, 3, okay? So we're going to have 3 electrons, 1, 2, 3 in the outer